Because the survey shows Latino culture and Catholic religion lead to LGBTQ plus discrimination. Gay is a sin. I've heard this from my own mother. Just so you know.
Been there.
15 years ago, surveys showed that 57% of Hispanic individuals called themselves Catholic. But recent surveys show that the number is now less than 47%. During that same time, those describing themselves as atheist, agnostic, or nothing in particular increased from 16 to 23%. A large part of that change is attributed to partisan politics, as religions become associated more and more with the Republican Party. The large number of Latin Americans who identify as Democrats begin to separate from the church. While attendance in church may be diminishing, many Latin families still hold traditional religious social views, and that can cause issues for those who are trying to come out as LGBTQ plus to their families. Now, my background, I was raised as a very hardcore, old school Puerto Rican Catholic. That means you don't even speak until you're spoken to, duck as you're walking by as you're speaking, all of that good stuff. And everything exited my mother's mouth like you'd get a full sentence of blah, 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 blah. That's a sin. So I'm used to hearing, that's a sin. Eso es un pecado. Ay, Dios mío.
Yeah.
You know, so you couldn't really, you know, I was raised by a hardcore Bible beater, you know, so I ran as fast as I could from the church because it was shoved down my throat my entire life. You must do your first communion. You must do your first confession. Anything you say in the house, go to church and confess. And I'm like, to say how many Our Fathers and how many Hail Marys, and then I am absolved of sin. And now I am free to just be a sinner all over again until next Sunday when I have to, you know, obviously crouch inside that uncomfortable little booth. You know?
Maybe, let me ask you this, because I see it in a lot of Latino friends. I grew up part Catholic too. My dad's a Christian Arab. He's Greek Orthodox. My mom, so I grew up in the church. Okay. I saw the homophobia from the Greek Orthodox, and I saw the homophobia from the Catholic. I'm baptized Catholic. Catholicism is intense, right? More so than I would say Greek Orthodox people. But you left the church physically, but did it take you a minute to let go of those values that were instilled? Because we say we don't believe in those things, but then they've been instilled in us since we're children. They're not as easy to peel away. And sometimes we find ourselves like with internal homophobia or guilt or fear. You know?
I still deal with that.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest with you. Growing up as a child, I went to Spanish Mass. I never attended English Mass. We attended it occasionally, but we were always in Spanish Mass. And at that time, as a child, you don't understand all of the vocabulary. And you also don't understand the lectures and things that are being said. So you're constantly sitting in this chair going, God, when can we leave? You know? And I began to think, well, thank God it's a Catholic church because we'll be going to be in and out of here in about 45 minutes for sure. True. I started taking the time. But as I grew older and I did go to, you know, an American Mass, you know, it was nice to sit there and to listen and to just kind of digest the information, if you will. But I never felt 100% connected as a Latina, and I didn't feel 100% connected as an American. So when I chose to leave church and I said, okay, I'm done. I can't do this. There's too many rules. So I left and I never practiced prayer because, again, it was forced. Every night you had to say the rosary. Oh, and you had to say it in Spanish. Yeah. And a lot of times you're saying this rosary and you're repeating it over and over again. You have no idea what it means because you're a child and you're just taught, memorize it. This is what you're supposed to do.
I spent my whole childhood on my knees in a private Catholic school.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And luckily,
That's probably what made you gay.
No, probably. But I always say that, but I say this, thank God my parents got divorced. Sorry guys, but it wasn't working.
Better.
So thank God they got divorced, and then we became Baptist Christians. Well, I thought that was a good idea, okay? And it just went from one crazy organized religion to another crazy organized religion. And we have to understand, look, the power of the church is so deep. It's so deeply rooted into our politics, into our culture.
Yes.
I mean, wars were fought based on religion.
Still are.
The church,
Are,
the
yeah.
church like governed. Okay, they were the body
Well, look at
of
the attack on reproductive rights. What's their explanation?
Their number one
the
go-to.
Bible.
Oh, no.
The Bible.
Can't do that.
So,
but
we're still dealing with it,
but
yeah.
luckily, you know, there's a bridge, and the churches don't have a direct say. Well, I don't know really. Now it's getting very confusing in this time and age, but they don't have a direct say into the legislation that's actually being made, right? Exactly. But right, exactly. I know I'm eating my words right now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
right
church
now,
and state, right?
Right now, we're facing an insurgence of religion and politics all over the world. Like if you go through from India to Russia and their homophobic laws, Guatemala to the United States, religion is getting.
We have a very
into politics,
forward-thinking
you know?
Pope right now who kind of has, you know, I mean, he makes very bold statements, and then he
caves
does
in a
like
little.
he
He
caves
You
does
in
can
a
be a
little
bold
bit.
PR personality, but how much can you change an institution that's been the same way?
Correct.
Our focus
You
is in
know?
the wrong place. Let religion do
Yeah.
its thing,
Thing,
granted,
exactly.
but government should be separated. That's it.
100%.
Yeah.
A division between church and state. It's in the Constitution. It's as simple as that.
And whether or not gay is a sin, I think that they're misinterpreting the Bible, because
Oh,
it doesn't
absolutely
say
they are.
anywhere in
Yes.
the Bible that
No,
gay is a sin.
The exact thing.
But I think we
shall not sleep with boy. It's insinuating pedophilia, but they changed it to man shall not sleep with man, depending on which Bible you're reading.
And also, I know a lot of
Okay.
people feel that they belong to a religion because they were born into it, or they have a calling towards that religion. But let's be honest, you have a choice, right? You can
Sure.
choose a lot of your religions. So, you know, if you choose to abide, if you're a homosexual and you choose to abide by a religion that practices homophobia, then you're also choosing that, unfortunately, you know?
There's a lot of nuances there. People have a connection to their families and communities. When you're a minority person, even more, you're navigating 3 different worlds. You're navigating that you're gay, you're navigating your minority status, and you're navigating the fact that you're someone from another country. You know, so it's a lot. And also, we have to remember that religion, although certainly we've all highlighted their negative points, we're in a religious organization that's
Right.
very inclusive and supportive. So I think that for a long time, LGBTQ people felt excluded from any sort of spirituality, and I think it's wonderful that organizations here, like our beloved Sunshine Cathedral, has embraced the community, has been very inclusive. So not, you know, excommunicating us, and I think
Correct.
that's important too, because faith for a lot of people is important.
Yes.
And we can't
helps
just,
them,
you know.
yeah.
But I get where people are coming from. So.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.